Good day. How is everyone this fine Wednesday, April 17th, 2024? Wow, look where April went. That was wonderful to have Orestes from Cuba join us yesterday. Hello again if you're watching, and it's awesome how many people are all over the world watching. We're going to continue with St. John of the Cross again and get into the vice, a little bit of what he speaks of, the spiritual aspects to the vice of avarice and how that affects the dark night. Let's get right into it. And I am a little early. I think I was a little early, but we're right on time. But that's good. In nomine Dei, Matronum Nostri, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Let us place ourselves in the presence of the Trinitarian Theophany and in Catholic contemplation humbly adore Dea Matronum Nostri, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Most holy and venerable Trinity, Dea Matronum Nostri, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, I believe that thou art here present. I venerate thee with the deepest humility, and I render to thee with my whole heart the homage which is due to thee. O Trinitarian Theophany, relying on thine infinite goodness and promises, I hope to attain the pardon of my sins and the help of thy grace and life everlasting, through the merits of Deum Iesum Christum et de Dea Matronum Nostri. O Trinitarian Theophany, I love thee above all things, with my whole heart and soul, because thou art all good and worthy of all love. I love my neighbor as myself for love of thee, and I forgive all who have injured me, and ask pardon of all whom I have injured. Let us thank the Trinitarian Theophany for the many graces that we receive, and offer ourselves and our sufferings up to Dea Matronum Nostri, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. O Trinitarian Theophany, I most humbly thank thee for all the favors thou hast bestowed upon me to the present moment. It is again thanks to thy bounty that I should live to see this day, and I desire to employ it solely in thy service. I consecrate to thee all my thoughts, words, actions, and sufferings of this day. Sanctify them, O God, O Trinitarian Theophany, that there may be none that is not animated by thy love, or that would not tend to thy greater glory. Let us make a firm resolution to avoid evil and to do good, and let us beg of God, the Trinitarian Theophany, the graces which are necessary to us. O Trinitarian Theophany, thou knowest my weakness, and that I am unable to do anything good without the help of thy grace. Deny me not thy grace, proportionate to my necessities. Give me strength to avoid everything which thou forbiddest, to practice the good which thou hast commanded, and enable me patiently to bear all the trials which it may please thee to send me. O Dea Matronum Nostri, I place myself under thy protection. I throw myself with confidence into the arms of thy compassion. Be to me, O Mother of Mercy, my refuge in distress and my consolation in suffering, now and at the hour of my death. Oh my God, I'm hardly... forgive me. O most holy Trinitarian Theophany, Dea Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. I am heartily sorry for having offended thee, and I detest all my sins because I dread the loss of heaven and the pains of hell. But most of all because they offend thee, O most holy Trinitarian Theophany, Dea Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, who are all good and deserving of all my love. I firmly resolve, with the help of thy grace, to confess my sins, to do penance, and to amend my life. Continuing on with St. John of the Cross, the dark night of the soul, we speak today of the imperfections which some beginners are wont to entertain as to the second capital vice, which, to speak soulfully, is avarice. At times, also, many of these beginners are subject to great soulful avarice, for rarely shall you see them content with the soul the Trinitarian Theophany gives them, but most disconsolate and querulous, because they find not in soulful things the comfort they desire. Okay, they're looking for comfort instead of reparation. Many are never done of listening to advice and soulful counsel, and of getting and reading many books which treat thereof, and so engaged in this and not in practical deeds, time slips by and leaves them without the mortification and perfection of interior poverty of soul which is required of them. For over and above this, they load themselves up with images, rosaries, and crosses exceeding handsome and valuable. Now they reject some and take up another. Now they barter them for something else. Now they undo their bargains. At one moment they want them of this fashion, at the end of that taking a fancy to this rather than the other, inasmuch as it is rarer or more costly. Then shall you see others adorned with agnus deum and reliquaries and relics, like children with trinkets, wherein I condemn the predilection of the heart and the clinging to the fashion, variety, and rarity of these things, inasmuch as it is utterly opposed to poverty of soul, which is fixed solely on the essence of devotion, making use of that only which suffices thereto, this other sort of variety and rareness being to them a weariness of the flesh. For true devotion must spring from the heart, and fix its eyes, to the exclusion of all else, on the truth and substance underlying the outward shews of soulful things, and anything besides is attachment and a property of imperfection. For if we would go forward to the state of perfection, it is necessary to make an end of such a tendency. I knew a person who, for more than 10 years, made use of a cross, rudely fashioned from a branch, which had been consecrated, held together by a crooked pin, and had never forsaken it, and bore it about him constantly, until I took it away. And this person was far from being a fool and weak of intellect. And I knew another who used a rosary made of bones of fishes' spines, whose devotion, it is certain, was not less pure, nor less highly prized by and acceptable to Deum Iesum Christum. Since it is clearly seen that the value thereof had naught to do with the fashion and costliness of such things as these. Those who start, then, well grounded in these principles, will not cling to visible instruments, nor load themselves up therewith, nor will it matter to them one jot to know more than what is essential to performance, for they give their eyes solely on being well with the Trinitarian Theophany, in pleasing Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, and are greedy for this alone. Wherefore they give away most liberally and freely whatsoever they possess, and their delight is to know that they are left without it for the sake of the Trinitarian Theophany and neighborly charity, ordering all things according to the laws of this virtue. For I say, they keep their eyes set solely on the real things of perfection, on pleasing God and not themselves in anything. Pleasing the Trinitarian Theophany. But not from these imperfections, nor from any others, can this soul purify herself completely, until the Trinitarian Theophany sets her in the passive purgation of that dark night we shall presently speak of. But it behooves the soul, insofar as she is able, to do all she can to purge and perfect herself, so as to deserve that the Trinitarian Theophany place her under this divine regimen, where the soul is healed of all she does not succeed in curing of herself. For howsoever the soul may assist thereto, she cannot, for all her industry, actively purify herself as to be fit in the slightest degree for the divine union of perfection of love with the Trinitarian Theophany, where Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, not to put forth his hand and purge her in this, for her so dark a fire, still to be described. So there you have the avarice notions of some who are on the soulful path, where they try to feel holy, if you will, by gathering up the trinkets, as St. John of the Cross calls them. And he doesn't mean that in a negative way. He means it in the way that they were being treated. And the attention that would put on them instead of what the individual or the man or the woman needs to do in order to get closer to the transforming union, which is, I know it's very hard for all of us, but the Catholic contemplation is one of those arduous tasks that at least it seems to be arduous, especially in the beginning, until it becomes a joy and a necessity. So when we put those types of practices or deeds that he talks about, the practical deeds, those sorts of deeds, and the care of our neighbor, etc., that's when we progress and move closer to the transforming union, which includes this dark night that we're going to be continuing to talk about. All right, let's get started with Mass. Dem vobiscum, quoque apote, oremus. O Trinitarian Theophany, the Creator and Redeemer of all the faithful, grant to the souls of thy servants and handmaids the remission of all their sins, that they may obtain by loving prayers the forgiveness which they have always desired, who livest and reignest with thee, one Trinitarian Theophany, forever and ever. Suscipe Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum Hanc Immaculatum Hostium, quam ego in ninius famulus tuus offeritibi Deum eum vivum et verum, pro unum dividibus peccatis et offensionibus et negligentis meis, et pro omnibus circumstantibus, sed pro omnibus fidelibus Catholicorum, vivis acque defunctis ut mihi edidis proficiedat salutem. Deum qui commandis substantia dignitate mirabile tocondidisia mirabilis reformaste da nobis spiritus sacratum mysterium eis divinitatis esse consortis criminitatis nostrae fieri de notis participes Deum Iesum Christum Filium qui tecum vivit et reinat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Offerimus tibi Deum calicem salutaris tuum deprecantes clementium, ut consueto divina majestatis tuae pro nostra totus mundus salute, cum adoris suavitatis ascendat. In spiritu humilitatis et in animo contritus suscipiam marata Deum Iesum Christum, et sequiet sacrificium nostrum et consueto tu hodie ut placia tibi Deum matronam nostre et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Veni Sanctificator, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, et sanctificite plata prosequendo, et accepere hoc sacrificium tuo sanctum nomine preparatum. Suscipe Sancta Trinitas oblationem, quam tibi afferimus summonem passionis, resurrectionis et ascensionis Deum Iesum Christum, et in honorem Deum matronam nostre et Papa Peter Sanctorum et Istorum et omnium Sanctorum, ut idis proficiat ad honorem nobis autem ad salutem, et idi pro nobis intercedere in inter in celis, quorum amore magimus in tedis per in Christum Deum nostrum. Orate, ut meum ec vestrum sacrificium, acceptabile fiat apud Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Suscipiat Deum Iesum Christum, sacrificium de manibus tuis, ad laudam et gloriam nomini sui, ad utilitatem quoque nostram totiusque ecclesiae suae sanctae. Deum vobiscum, quoque apud te, sursum corda, habemus ad Deum. Gratias agamus Deum nostrum, dignum et justum est. Te igitur clementissime Mater Pater, Deum Matram nostre, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per Deum Iesum Christum Filium Tuum, Deum nostre, supplices rogamus ac petimus, uti accepta, habeas, et sanctificas, hec sanctam sacrificium irribata. In primis qui tibi afferimus pro ecclesiam tuam sanctam catholicam, quam pacificare custodire adonare, et regere dignitis tot orbiterarum atque catholicae. We pray for the sick and the suffering. We especially pray for Neil and Earl Lively, Katie Gage, Mark Jr., Maria Josephina Mose, Henry, Barbara and Benedict Santa Croce, Casey, Mr. Nobody, Ann Botink, the Cantu and Duarte families, Maria and the Lamweber family, John Cahill, the Dasco, Nye, Tafur, Beacon, and Wolf families, and baby girl Beacon. We pray for Mr. Nobody to receive the funding and strength needed to complete the first Sede Vacantes Catholic Council office in Monastery of Illinois. We pray for an end to all governmental sanctioning of allowance or sanctioning of abortion, transgenderism, transhumanism, child trafficking, child abuse of any kind, anywhere, place, or time. We pray for the establishment of a Catholic monarchy with a sound Catholic system of labor, human value, and medium of exchange with no usury. We pray for courageous men to step forward as leaders of this Catholic society and to rein in all sinful behavior. We ask Deum Matronam Nostre et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum with this Mass to destroy the satanic document of the Vatican law, which is the Jewish Talmud. We ask you to destroy Rome and the Vatican and transfer the authority of the Catholic Church to Fatima, Portugal. And we ask you to release the souls controlled by the demon Lilith and send the demon Lilith, send her to the bottom of hell. We also ask with this Mass to please save or transfer the souls from under the dominion of any Jew or Freemason that gives support to Israel, and make them to fall to the worst part and pits of hell with no chance to ever escape. We ask during these times that our prayers be doubled, and that we come to not be in despair as either, but to know that the Trinitarian Theophany will preserve us and will preserve the church and will bring about the natural peace that Dea Matronam Nostre Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum intended. All these we ask in accordance with thy holy will. Et omnium circumstantium, quorum tibi fides cognita est et nota devotio, pro quibus tibi afferimus, veruque tibi front hoc sacrificium laudis, pro se suisque omnibus, pro redemptione animarum suarum, pro spe salutis et egula aetatis suae, tibi quid redunt vota sua, aeterno Deum vivo et vero, communicantes et momone venerantes in primis gloriose semper Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et beatorum martyrium tuorum, Papa Sancti Petri, et Sancti Lucia, et Sancti Jacinta, et Sancti Francisco, et Sancti Juan Diego, et omnium sanctorum tuorum, quorum meritis precibusque concedas ut in omnibus, protectiones tuae monum exilio per in Christum Deum nostrum, quam oblationem de Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum in omnibus, consecratum ad tabulum efficedi dineris ut nobis corpum, et sanguinem fiat didictissimi filium tuum Deum Iesum Christum, qui pridie quam pateretur recepit panem in sancta sacramentis manus suas, et derivatis oglis in caelum ad Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum suum omnipotentem tibi gratias agens, consecravit frigidi di quae lumnis sui dicenza cipite et mantocate ex hoc omnis. Hoc est enim corpus meum. Simili modo postquam ceremonia secipienser hunc preclarum calicem in sancta sacramentis manus suas item tibi gratias agens Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, consecravit de quae lumnis sui dicenza cipite et vivite ex omnes. Hic est enim calix sanguinis mei, mysterium fidei, quae pro nobis et pro multis effundentur in remissionem peccatorum, equat est cum facietis in memoria facietis. Unde et memores Deum nos servitui, sed plebs tua sancta justum Christum filium tuum Deum nostre, tambi et passionis nec non et in fides resurrectionis, sed et in celos gloriose scansiones sufferimus, preclare majestati tui tuis donis actatis, supra quae propitio aux renovutur respiциeri dineris. Supplices, te regamos Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, ibi hic per fide manus tuum, ut quod, ex hoc autoris participatione sacrosanctum Deum filium tuum, corpus et sanguinem simpsenimus, omni sanctificatione, celesti et gratia Dei per amor, per innum Christum Deum Nostrae. We pray for those who have died. We especially pray for Bethan Kendrick, for whom this Mass is being offered. Ipsis Deum et omnibus in Christum crescentibum locum refugiri lucis et pacis, ut ondoge est procamur per innum Christum Deum nostrum. Per quem hic omnia Deum Iesum Christum semper bona creas, sanctificas, vivificas, consecratis et prestas nobis. Per ipsum et cum ipso et in ipso, est ibi Deum Matronum omnipotenti in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, omnis honor et gloria. Ave Dea, Matronam Nostrae, gratia plena Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum tecum, Dea matram nostrae matram Deum Iesum Christum, misericordia nobis, peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Libera nos, quae sumus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, ab omnibus malis, praeteritis, praesentibus et futuris, et intercedente beata, gloriosa semper Dei matram nostrae, cum Papa Petrum Sanctorum et omnibus sanctis da propitius pacem in diebus nostris, utopi misericordiae Tue aduit et peccato, simus semper liberi et ab omni perturbatione securi. Periendum Deum nostrum, Iesum Christum filium Tuum Deum nostrum, qui tegem vivit et reinat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per aeternam. Pax Deum, Iesum Christum, sit semper vobiscum, et quoque apud te, ecum ex Deo consecratio corporis et sanguinis Deum Iesum Christum fiat et cipientibus nobis in et salutem aeternam. Pax tecum, et quoque apud te, Deum Iesum Christum, qui ex voluntate Deum matronam nostrae, corporante Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per mortem tuum unum vivificasti, libera me per hoc sacro sanctum corpus et sanguinum tuum ab omnibus iniquitatibus meis, et universis malis, et fac me tui semper in hadare mandatis, et atinum cum separare permitas, qui cum eodem Deum matronam nostrae, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, vivis et regnam aeternam. Percepto corporis tui Deum Iesum Christum, quod ego indinius sumere praesimum, non mihi proveniat in judicium condemnationem, sed pro tui pietate prosit mihi attitumente mentis corporis, et ad me delam percipiendum qui vivis et reinas, cum Deum matronam nostrae, in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Panem celestum accipiem, et nomen Deum Iesum Christum invocabo. Deum matronam nostrum non sunt dignus, ut et meis in tanto verba sempiternam mea. Deum Iesum Christum non sunt dignus, ut et meis in tanto verba sempiternam mea. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum non sunt dignus, ut et meis in tanto verba sempiternam mea. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima meam. Quid retuvum Deum Iesum Christum pro omnibus queritud mihi, calicem saitaris accipiem et nomen Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum invocabo, laudans invocabo Deum matronam nostrae et ab inimicis meis salvus ero. Sanguis Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima meam. Colore subsimus. Deum Iesum Christum puramente capiamus et immunem et tempore fiat nobis remedium sempiternam. Corpus tuum Deum Iesum Christum quod sit sanguis compata habere vescibus meis et presta, ut in me non remeniat scelera macula quem pura sancta officiera sacramenta. Deum vobiscum, quoque apote. Oremus. May the prayer of thy suppliants profit the souls of thy servants and handmaids, we beseech thee, that thou mayest free them from all sins and make them sharers in thy redemption, who livest and reignest with thee, one God, the Trinitarian Theophany, forever and ever. Deum vobiscum, quoque apote, ite mises, Deum gratiam. Placia tibi sancta Trinitam, obsequium servitutis mea perista ut sacrificium, quod oculis tuae majestatis in nos opteri tibi sacertatare mique et omnibus, pro quibus irud optoli siti miserante propitiabe per Christum Deum nostrum. Sanctificat vos omnipotens Deum, Matronam et Filium et Spiritum Sanctum, Deum Matronam nostre et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. O Trinitarian Theophany, I believe, I venerate, I hope, and I love thee. I beg of thee pardon for those who do not believe, do not venerate, do not hope, and do not love thee. Most Holy Trinitarian Theophany, Deum Matronam Nostre et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. I venerate thee profoundly, and I offer to thee the most precious body, blood, soul, and divinity of Deum Iesum Christum, present here in reparation for the outrages, sacrileges, and indifference by which he himself is offended. And through the infinite merits of his most sacred heart and the immaculate heart of Deum Matronam Nostrae, I beg of thee the conversion of poor sinners. In nomine Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. Thank you for attending and for participating and for the practical deeds of Catholic contemplation. Please practice that as much as you can. I know, like I said, it's a little bit difficult to get started, to find a quiet place and the time. However, the reward is great. Please go and sanctify all those who you meet. And our prayers are working. Go to the website, ourladiesgod.com, for that intention that I read today at Mass, so that you can repeat it throughout the day with your rosaries to stop the insanity of destruction that is want within that group, Israel. And the crazy belief of the Protestant followers that they should do that they should follow Israel. We need to get back to the Trinitarian Theophany and have a peaceful Catholic monarchy world. So again, please go and sanctify all those you meet. Pray. We'll see you tomorrow.